Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is you're watching this. Hello, welcome to my first video of 2024. So for those of you that are new, hello, my name is Meg. I am a flight attendant. I travel the world for a living. It is the best job and it enables me to go to places that I only ever would have dreamed of. I post predominantly travel vlogs and cabin crew vlogs, but I do also post lifestyle and homely vlogs as well. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, make sure you hit that subscribe button. So I was umming and ahhing about what to do this week because I went to New York, but I didn't really do a lot, so I didn't vlog it. I obviously wanted to put a video up for the first Sunday of January because I do upload on Sundays. I saw a few crew that I know on Instagram doing this, so I thought I would make it into a YouTube video, and it is like a 2023 travel reflection video reflecting on some of my best moments from last year, my favourite destinations. I am gonna do like 5 different categories of top 5s. It's gonna be quite a talky video. It's kind of just like a little gratitude, like reflection on my year of travel, and I thought it would just be quite a cool video to do something different. So let's get straight into my 2023 travel wrapped. I've written this down because memory. In 2023, I visited 22 countries, and out of those 22 countries, 39 different cities or places within those countries. Insane, really. I am also including my holiday that I had to Albania when I talk about those figures, but everywhere else has been somewhere that I've gone to with work. I'm not going to name everywhere that I went to because we'd be here for a very long time. So the first category that I've got is my top 5 best memories from my trips. So this is in no particular order. It was difficult to narrow it down to 5 because there's definitely more than 5. For the sake of this video, I've narrowed it down to 5, but in no particular order. So the first one is Table Mountain in Cape Town. Cape Town is somewhere that I wanted to go to immediately as soon as I started flying, but I thought, you know, it's quite a long trip and it's quite a long flight. I'm going to ease myself in with some other places that I want to go to first. I finally got to Cape Town in October last year, and I was able to take my boyfriend there with me. We had the best trip. I've taken him away twice with me. Had an amazing trip both times. Cape Town definitely was special, and being able to go up to one of the tallest mountains in the world, I think Table Mountain is. I know it's not the tallest, but it's pretty tall. The views are anything to go by. Being able to do that, we didn't walk it, we did get the cable car up and down. Wish I was fit enough to walk up it, maybe one day. Cable car up and down, we were up there for a few hours and it was just so surreal to be up on a mountain that high. To be able to share it with him made it all the more special. So that's definitely one of my best memories. The next one I've written down is the hot air balloons in Mexico. Guys, this was insane. First of all, I have like an irrational fear of hot air balloons. I never ever thought you would get me up in a hot air balloon, ever. But I don't know, the fear kind of just vanished. Sorry if you keep seeing flashes of light. The sun is doing a little dance with the clouds outside. Never thought I would go up in a hot air balloon, so this in itself was like a massive achievement for me. Do you know what? I actually didn't feel scared at all in the lead up to going up or when I was up there because it was just so amazing. Up during the sunset over Mexico City, and it was just amazing, the views, and just being able to say that I've done that. Like, not many people can say that they went up in a hot air balloon in Mexico City during the sunset. Like, it was definitely worth every second. Next memory that I've got is Disneyland, California. I went to LA in August and I took my best friend Shannon with me. We both love Disney. We both always loved Disney. And we've both been to Disneyland Paris and Disney World Florida, but not together. We've been there separately. It's just crazy to me that in the 6-7 years that we've been friends, we've never been to Disneyland together. I started this job, we always had plans for her to come with me on trips and for us to go to Disney. It finally happened in August. We went to Disneyland, California. It was literally the best day ever. Had so much fun. It was so magical. We were there from literally the minute the doors opened until the minute they closed, more or less. Absolutely shattered by the time we got back to the hotel, but it was so worth it because it was just such an amazing day. I literally did not stop smiling. So glad that we did that, and we do have plans to go back to LA and do the other park that's there because we did the Disneyland, and there is also California Adventure, which is more, I think, Pixar and more roller coasters than like the little rides. We are gonna go back and do that park at some point. We also have plans to do the Asian Disneyland parks, Hong Kong, Tokyo, Shanghai. A fourth memory that I've written down is the Hamburg Christmas markets, which is one of my most recent trips. At the end of November, I went to Hanover, and me and a couple of other crew members got a train to Hamburg because it was only about an hour away, and no one does Christmas markets like Germany. And this Christmas market, we went to a couple actually, but the ones we went to in Hamburg were just on another level, like not anything that I've ever seen before anywhere else. We had eggnog, which I wasn't a huge fan of, I'm not gonna lie. We had lots of mulled wine, like a lot of mulled wine. So many like cool stalls, like really unique gift ideas. We just had such a good day, and it was definitely one of my favourite days this year, so I had to put that one in there. And the final memory that I've put down is the day that I had in LA right at the beginning of December, so that's actually more recent than Hamburg. Basically there were, I think, 12 of us, rented a little minibus and went and did the Hollywood sign, the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Rodeo Drive, Beverly Hills Hotel. We went to Malibu, we went to Santa Monica Pier. Like, we literally did all of the things I've always wanted to do when I've gone to LA, but never been able to because it's not something I do on my own, and also it's something that requires renting a car. And number one, I am not driving in America. I just about managed to drive safely in England. I am not putting myself in that situation. It's the sort of thing I kind of needed someone else to come with me for, and every trip I've done before that to LA, I just haven't been able to find the crew to do it with. This time we all did it, there was loads of us, and it was such a good day. Really long and tiring, but so worth it. It was just such a funny day as well. Like, sometimes you can do a trip where you do something really amazing. It's amazing for that reason. Sometimes you can have a trip where you don't really do a lot, but the crew make it amazing. And sometimes you can do a trip where the crew and what you end up doing with those crew is amazing, and it just makes such amazing memories. That is definitely my fifth memory of the year. Next category that I've got is the best food I've eaten. So I love food, guys. If you're new here, I freaking love food. I wouldn't say I'm massively experimental with food though, but that probably comes down to the fact that I'm a vegetarian. So a lot of the time I'll go to places and I won't necessarily eat the cuisine from that place because it's meat and I can't eat it. I do eat fish. I didn't eat fish for a long time, but I've recently started I don't eat it very often, but I do eat it sometimes if there's not a very good vegetarian option, because I found that I just live off of pasta and it's not good for my bloating. I'm trying to not eat as much pasta as I normally do, and being a veggie, when you're out in other countries especially, it is difficult sometimes to find something that isn't pasta that's vegetarian, or pizza. Germany is the worst for vegetarian food. I had a vegetarian burger when I was in Hamburg and it was disgusting. It really wasn't nice at all. There are some places that they're just not good for veggie food, so I do end up living off of food that's not good for me sometimes. That's not what we're talking about here. I have written down 5 of my favourite foods that I've eaten in these places that I've been to, and the first one I've written down is the deep dish pizza that I had in Chicago. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a thin pizza gal. I love a thin crust and a thin base, but I feel like if you go to Chicago you have to try a deep dish pizza. It's just illegal if you don't do that. So I tried some deep dish. When did I go? I've been to Chicago quite a lot because it goes on the 380, which I'm trained on. I can't pinpoint the exact trip where I had the deep dish pizza, but it was a good pizza. I only ate 2 slices and it filled me up like a whole pizza would. Just the cutting of it as well, when the waiter was slicing it and pulling it up and it just kept going and going, it was unreal. Also written down another Chicago place is the Nutella Cafe. I know you can probably get this in England. Well, you can. I've had it in England 1,000 times in places like Sprinkles and Casper's. The fact that it was in the actual Nutella Cafe is what kind of takes the biscuit for me. I've been there a couple of times, and both times I had the Nutella crepe with banana, and it's unreal. I mean, I freaking love Nutella. It's my favourite thing ever, especially on a pancake or a crepe. The next one I've written down is a restaurant called Zest, which Barney and I went to in Cape Town. The food was so good. I'm not gonna lie, there was nothing vegetarian. The only food they had was fish and meat. So this was when I kind of was eating fish. Actual quality of the food is just I've had calamari before, but the calamari that they had at Zest was unbattered. It literally looked like congili. Is that how you pronounce it? You know congili pasta, the little like round shells? It looked like that. If you'd put it in front of me and told me it was pasta, I would have believed you, because it looked like pasta. I can't even, it was so light but so tasty. It was amazing. And we had prawns as well, and I had a salmon dish. And the food, it was like a fine dining restaurant, but for a quarter of the price that you would pay in the UK. Service was amazing. The drinks were so nice. I had a Blue Lagoon. We went there on the second night that we were there, and it was like, it doubled up as our like anniversary dinner, because we just had our 5-year anniversary that month. We really couldn't have picked a nicer place to go to. It was so good. I will definitely be going back there the next time I go to Cape Town. It was just, oh, I can still taste it now. It was so nice. I've also written down the street food that I had when I was in Singapore. So we went to a place called La Pau Sat, and you literally sit in the street at a table, like a bench and a table, and you can go up to different food stalls. I wasn't sure what I was going to be able to eat when I went there, but they actually had a really good selection of veggie food. Now, I had like a vegetarian curry, like it was rice, it had some chickpeas, it had, I think, some little naan breads. Like, I'll put a clip or a picture of it on screen, but it was really good. I wanted to experience street food when I went to Singapore, and I was worried I wasn't going to be able to, so I was really glad that they had veggie options. Then the last one that I've written down is the pistachio ice cream that I had when I was in Bologna. I love pistachio ice cream, and I've had it a few times in different places, but the one that I had when I was in Bologna is the best pistachio ice cream I've had. If I go back to Bologna, I will be hunting down that ice cream bar and having it again, because it was unreal. Okay, the next top 5 that I've got are top 5 views that I've seen. First one I've written down, hands down the best one, is the view of the Maldives Islands from the plane. I obviously saw like other crew post pictures of the view that you see before I went to the Maldives, but seeing it actually in real life it's amazing. Like, you see it and you think, wow, like as if this is real right now. In the Maldives just as a whole, because every view that I saw, golden hour, every view that I saw in the Maldives was just insane and surreal. And the whole time I was there, I was just like, how am I here? This is an absolute dream of a destination. I also took Barney on that trip as well, so we've been to 2 really amazing places together that we just would not have ever gone to if I didn't have this job. I remember on my first day of training for my airline, the trainers went around the room and asked everyone what their top destination was, and mine was the Maldives. It was like a holiday. Like, it didn't feel like a work trip at all. All inclusive, and the food in the all inclusive restaurant was so good. Actually, when I go on holiday, I don't like going all inclusive, because I think hotel food can sometimes be a bit crap, especially for vegetarians. But oh my god, this all-inclusive restaurant was like top tier. Food was so good. We went there for breakfast, lunch and dinner both days. Next lot of views that I've written down, I have already mentioned this, but I have to include the views from the hot air balloons in Mexico City, because there's nothing like it. There's nothing like just hovering over ground, and we could see the pyramids, we could see the sun setting. Like, it was just insane. I've also written Nassau down because there were some really amazing views from the infinity pool in our hotel in Nassau, but also just the whole time I was there, it was a bit like the Maldives. It was just one of those places where I just was like, this is my place, this is where I need to be all the time. It's such a beautiful place. Like, everywhere you look, it's just amazing views everywhere. Okay, the next lot of views I've written down are the views that I had when I did the boat trip in Rio. Rio was another destination that I really wanted to visit, and I actually bid for it in August last year. I bid for Rio, Los Angeles and Singapore. I bid for Los Angeles because that was when Shannon said she wanted to go to Disneyland. So I got LA, which obviously we went to Disneyland, and I did get Singapore, which I did vlog, but for any of you that have seen it or remember it, I actually ended up having 1 day less in Singapore than I was meant to, because our flight got cancelled. I don't feel like I properly experienced Singapore, so I really want to go back to Singapore. I did for Rio as well, and I didn't get Rio, but I got a block of standby, and I actually ended up getting called for a Rio on that standby block, which I just thought was crazy. Like, what a coincidence. I couldn't believe it. When I got called for a Rio, I went up to the desk and they said, you're off to Rio. I was like, sorry? To this day, the best trip I have been called off standby for, hands down. And I get some good trips off of standby. I got to Dubai last time. I'd been called for an LA before, I'd been called for a Tel Aviv, which ended up being a really good trip. Rio was kind of like, I didn't really have plans because I got called, so it was very like, oh my god, what am I going to do while I'm there? Because I had 2 whole days there. I ended up going on this boat trip in the afternoon until sunset, and I mean, the views that we saw of Sugarloaf Mountain, the views that we had just out on the sea in general, and then the views coming in during sunset were just so nice, amazing. And then the final views that I've put down are the vineyards in Cape Town. Barney and I went to a couple of vineyards while we were there to do some wine tastings. It was such a good day. One place in particular that we went to, on Stanshire Glen, we were literally sat in like full view of the vineyards and the mountains that the vineyards next to, and it was crazy to be sat there drinking wine and eating a flatbread and just looking out at these vineyards and the mountains. It was amazing. Really, really nice views. My boyfriend is like a sucker for a nice view. Like he'll go somewhere purely for the view, and that was one thing we really wanted to do, was go to a nice vineyard with a nice view. We definitely accomplished that. So next category I have has to be my top 5 destinations of the year. This was a difficult one because I've had so many amazing trips, but I have managed to narrow it down, and to be honest, 4 out of the 5 of them have already been mentioned, but I am going to mention them again. Number 1 is Cape Town. Again, this is in no particular order. I'm saying number 1, but it's just the first one that I've written down. Cape Town, definitely number 1. 1, because of the fact that I got to take my boyfriend with me on a sunset cruise while we were there as well. We went obviously to that really nice restaurant. We went up Table Mountain. We went and did a wine tasting, a couple of wine tastings, and it was just a really, really nice trip. Next one I've written down is Rio, because again, it was one of those destinations that I wanted to go to. It was on my bucket list, and the fact that I got called a standby for it just added to that gratitude that I had for being able to go. While I was there, it was just like, I didn't feel like I was actually present the whole time I was there, because I mean, the things I got to do and the things I got to see, I obviously talked about the boat trip that I did, but we also went to see Christ the Redeemer, which is one of the 8 wonders of the world. Went to Copacabana Beach. Went to, I've forgotten what they're called, but the colourful steps. We went to them. We did so much the whole time that we were there. To think that I could have just been sat at home on standby waiting for my phone to ring, and I was actually in Rio de Janeiro doing all of those things, it just made it even more amazing. The next one I've written down is Mexico City, because aside from the hot air balloons, we also went to see the pyramids while we were there. We went on a canal boat and had a mariachi band play a song for us. Also went into the main city of Mexico. Then it was just a really nice trip. I did bid for this trip. It was also the trip that I did that made me want to start learning Spanish again, which I'm still doing. The next one I've written down is the Maldives, for obvious reasons. Bucket list destination. Barney came with me. Was like a holiday the whole time that we were there. We were only there for 2 days, but like, it felt like so much longer than that. And then the 5th one that I've written down is actually somewhere I didn't go with work. It was my holiday that I went on, and it was to Albania. Some people will probably wonder what made us go to Albania, because it's not somewhere that I ever probably would have considered a holiday destination. My boyfriend was the one that actually kind of discovered Albania and said that we should go there, and we were there for 5 days. We travelled around the whole of the country, starting at the capital in Tirana, and we went all the way down to the coast, and it was just, we just had the best time while we were there. Again, saw some really amazing views. It was kind of like mine and Barney's first holiday, because although he's come on trips with me, it was the first time we actually went away and it wasn't a work trip. I'm really glad we went, and I would definitely recommend Albania to anyone. It's literally like Greece, but for a quarter of the price you'd pay. Definitely worth it, especially we hired a car, so we drove from the capital to the coast, and it took about 4 hours. Longer than that because we stopped a few times, but if you did a straight drive, it's about 4 hours, but it's so worth it. Or if you're not going to hire a car, I would definitely say stay down in like the Sarande area, because that was definitely the best place we went to out of all of them. They've got some really pretty beaches there as well. We went to a beach called Casamil, and it's literally like the Maldives. It looks like the Maldives. Really nice place, so glad that we went there. And finally, I'm going to finish off with my top 5 destinations that I want to visit in 2024. See at the end of the year how many of these I've done. First one I've written is Greece. I know it's quite, not boring, but it's not as like far away as most of the other places I've probably written down. I've just never been to Greece and I would love to go. I don't think I'd go with work. The only place that we night stop in is Athens, which obviously I'd love to do, but I would more love to go to like Santorini, Mykonos, somewhere like that. I am planning to go away for my 30th birthday in September, so maybe Greece will be the place that we end up going to. Hopefully, it's definitely somewhere I'd like to go on holiday to. And then the other 4 places I've written are all places I will be going to with work. So the next place I've written is New Orleans. It's somewhere in the US. I have visited a lot of the US. I probably go to the US more than I go anywhere else, so there aren't many places left that I would like to go to in the US, but one that I would like to go to is New Orleans. It's a really nice trip to do, and some of the pictures that I've seen from people that have been there, it looks like such a cool place to go. I also like The Originals, the TV show, which is set in New Orleans, so I would love to go there. Next place I've written down is China. Beijing or Shanghai. We go to both of those places. I am going to Hong Kong literally in a couple of days time, but I thought that Hong Kong was in China, but Barney said that it's like its own place, like it's outside of China. But technically it's not China, so that's why I've written China down. Also written down Japan. We fly to Tokyo, Haneda. I think that's the only place we go to. It looks like a really amazing place to go. The 5th and final place that I've written down is Sydney, Australia. You guys know I would still love to do a Singapore, Sydney. It's still a trip that I've bid for that I really want to get. So maybe, hopefully, I will get one very soon. I'd love to go to Australia. I don't want to see any spiders or snakes while I'm there. But I would love to just say that I've been to Australia because it's one place that I've just always thought is so far away. There's no way I'm ever going to go there. Now I have the opportunity to. It's definitely somewhere I'd like to go. And also, the way that we do a Sydney is we do a Singapore, Sydney. So we go to Singapore, we stay for 2 nights. We go to Sydney, we stay for 1 night, and then we come back to Singapore, stay for another 2 nights. So as I said before, I've been to Singapore, but I would love to go back. And I feel like if I were to do a Singapore, Sydney, that's ticking off 2 destinations I really want to do. And Singapore, I would get 4 nights there in total. Like, I'm definitely going to get the full Singapore experience if I do a Singapore, Sydney. So those are my top 5 destinations that I'd love to visit this year, and I'd love to be able to tick them all off as well. That is going to conclude this video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. I know it's been a lot of talking, so if you've watched until the end, thank you very much. Thank you for bearing with me. Next video will hopefully be my Hong Kong vlog. I'm going on Monday. I get back on Friday, so it doesn't give me much time to edit between Friday and uploading. But I'm going to try my best for you. I'm going to try this year not to miss any uploads because I know I missed a few last year, and I don't know, it gives me this like weird feeling when I miss an upload. I feel like I feel so unaccomplished when I do that. I know it's silly, but yeah, I don't want to miss any uploads this year. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you join the family, and I will see you in my next video.